Two people are born on the exact same day. They go to the same school, study the same subjects, and even graduate in the same year. But 10 years later, one of them is running a company, fluent in 2 new languages, and in the best shape of their life. The other is still scrolling through their phone, wondering where the years went. Same 365 days, same 24 hours, same biological clock ticking at the exact same speed. So how on earth did one person live what looks like a 500-day year, while the other barely squeezed 200 out of it? This isn't motivation. This is mathematics, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Here's the strange truth psychologists have been quietly studying for decades. Time isn't actually experienced in hours. It's experienced in units of attention. A day where you were fully present, deeply focused, and emotionally engaged feels longer, richer, and produces more output than a week of distracted half-living. Researchers call this subjective time expansion, and it's the reason a single focused weekend in your life can feel more memorable than 3 foggy months you barely remember. Think about it. Can you recall what you did last Tuesday? Probably not. But you can recall, in vivid detail, the day you gave that presentation that terrified you, or the night you stayed up finishing a project you were obsessed with. That's not a coincidence. Your brain only records time when you're actually awake inside of it. But here's where it gets interesting. Most people don't lose time to big, dramatic distractions. They lose it to invisible leaks. A study from the University of California found that after a single interruption, like checking a notification, it takes the average person 23 minutes to return to deep focus. 23 minutes. So if you get distracted just 4 times in a workday, you've already burned an hour and a half of your sharpest mental energy. Now multiply that across a week, a month, a year. Suddenly, the person who protects their attention isn't just slightly ahead. They're operating in a completely different timeline. This is what high performers understand that almost no one talks about. They're not working more hours, they're working in denser hours. 1 hour of deep, uninterrupted work can produce what 4 hours of scattered effort cannot. That's not a metaphor. That's how the prefrontal cortex actually functions. When you stack enough of these dense hours together, your year mathematically expands. 3 real hours a day of deep work, over 365 days, gives you over 1,000 hours of high-output time. The average person, drowning in notifications and shallow tasks, gets maybe 200. Now pause for a second. Think about your last week. How many of those hours were truly yours? How many were spent in someone else's algorithm, someone else's drama, someone else's priorities? Most people never notice this, but the people who seem to have more time aren't gifted with extra hours. They've simply stopped donating their hours away for free. There's another layer to this, and it's the part that changes everything. It's called compounding learning. Psychologist Anders Ericsson, the man behind the famous research on expertise, discovered that what separates elite performers from everyone else isn't talent or time spent. It's something he called deliberate practice. Doing the uncomfortable thing on purpose, learning in a way that stretches you instead of soothes you. A student who studies with deliberate focus for 1 hour learns more than a student who half studies for 5. Over a year, that gap doesn't add. It multiplies. This is why some 22-year-olds seem 10 years ahead of their peers. They didn't get more time, they got more compression. They turned every ordinary day into a unit of growth that quietly stacked, while everyone else was waiting for motivation to strike. And here's the emotional truth no one wants to sit with. Every day you live on autopilot is a day your future self will not remember. Not because it didn't happen, but because nothing inside it was worth recording. The regret people feel in their 30s and 40s is rarely about the big risks they didn't take. It's about the thousands of small days they slept through while telling themselves they had time. But you still do. That's the gift hidden inside all of this. The 500-day year isn't a trick or a hack. It's a decision. A decision to protect your attention like it's the most valuable currency you own. Because it is. A decision to stop measuring your life in hours and start measuring it in presence, in depth, in deliberate effort, The clock won't slow down for you, but your life can absolutely expand inside of it. So before you close this video, do one honest thing. Drop a comment below and tell me the one habit that's been quietly stealing your time, the leak you already know about, but keep pretending you don't. Naming it is how you take it back. And if you want more psychology-based breakdowns like this one, hit subscribe and stay with us at NeuroPrep, because the next video might just rewire something you didn't know was broken. You get 365 days. What you do inside them decides whether you lived a year or whether you lived a lifetime.